Kelly Ripa has always been candid, quick-witted, and unabashedly honest. But even longtime fans were taken aback by her latest revelation. If she and husband Mark Consuelos ever split, she wouldn't re-enter the dating scene. Not ever. Speaking with her signature blend of humor and conviction, Ripa didn't mince words. Dating is out of the question. I'm not ever getting naked again. The confession came during a recent podcast conversation where the TV host was reflecting on aging, relationships, and life after decades in the spotlight. While the comment got a laugh, Ripa wasn't joking. It was a hard line drawn with clarity. She's been with Consuelos for nearly 3 decades, and the thought of starting over doesn't just feel unlikely, it feels absurd. I wouldn't even know what to do, she continued. You think I'm going to get on an app and swipe through strangers? Please. I don't even like texting people I know. Her tone made it clear that this wasn't bitterness, but rather a kind of self awareness only time can offer. I know what I've got. I'm not trying to roll the dice again. She went on to explain that the intimacy of a long term relationship, knowing someone's rhythms, neuroses, and morning moods, is something you can't replicate easily. Mark knows me. He knows my every weird quirk and still chooses to stay. That's a miracle. Why would I put anyone else through that? Ripa and Consuelos met in the 90s on the set of All My Children and married in Las Vegas in 1996. Over the years, they've raised 3 children, built media empires, weathered tabloid headlines, and become a staple of morning television. Their bond is both private and public, romanticized and scrutinized. Yet through it all, they've remained, as Ripa puts it, each other's constants. That level of connection isn't just emotional, it's deeply physical too, which is where her comment about not getting naked again stems from. The idea of being physically vulnerable with someone new? Forget it. I'd rather read a book. I'd rather take up knitting. It wasn't about shame or insecurity, she clarified, but a comfort in her own skin that only exists because of the trust she's spent decades building. Her remarks struck a chord with listeners, many of whom took to social media to praise her honesty. One user tweeted, Kelly Ripa saying she'd never date again if she divorced Mark is the most relatable thing I've heard all week. Another wrote, after 30 years with someone, starting over feels like rebooting your life with a blindfold on. She gets it. But Ripa also offered insight into the often romanticized notion of starting fresh. For her, the idea that there's someone out there better suited, more exciting, or more compatible isn't persuasive. I don't need to rediscover myself with someone new. I already did the hard work. I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel. Still, Ripa acknowledges that her viewpoint is shaped by her unique circumstances. I know I'm lucky. Mark and I have had our challenges, of course. Every marriage does. But I never questioned that he was my person. If that ever changed, and God forbid it did, I think I'd just bow out of the game, retire from romance gracefully. It's a sentiment that contrasts starkly with the culture of perpetual searching and second chances. In an era where dating apps offer endless swipes and situationships dominate headlines, Ripa's vow of celibate independence sounds almost radical, but it's also refreshingly grounded. I don't fear being alone, she added. I think a lot of people rush into something new because they're afraid of solitude. But I like my own company. I like who I am when I'm by myself. I don't need someone to complete me. I'm already whole. That self-assurance has always been a hallmark of Ripa's persona on and off camera. She's made a career out of being relatable, even as she navigated celebrity life. Whether she's talking about parenting fails, awkward red carpet moments, or hormone shifts, she speaks in a way that feels like your best friend is letting you in on a secret. When asked if she ever envisioned herself single again, Ripa chuckled. No, I either die married or I become a mysterious lady who lives with 17 dogs and eats soup out of the can. There's no in between. Her humor aside, the message was unmistakable. For Ripa, love isn't a game of musical chairs. It's a conscious commitment to one person, one path. And if that chapter were ever to end, she wouldn't flip back to page 1. She'd simply close the book. I'm not cynical about love, she clarified. I'm just not trying to reboot it. I've lived the great love story. If it ends, so be it. I'll hold on to the memories and move forward with my dignity intact and my clothes on. In a world obsessed with new beginnings, Ripa's perspective is a rare and necessary reminder. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is not start over, but choose to simply be.